Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna call this meeting to order. This is gonna be the regular town board meeting held on March 17th, 2025 at 6:30 PM at the Forestville Town Hall. Roll call, please.
Kevin Gillett,
Here.
Larry Huber.
Here.
Jason Clahad,
Here.
Teresa Clahad here. We have Chris Semple here, Karen Baling, Jeff Cusole, and Christine Reed, and I forget your name.
which side?
Okay, and Dana Schmidt is absent, so noted, so
All
our
right.
treasurer's absent today. So,
Can we do pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Verification of public notice.
it was posted on our website, at the town hall, and in the clerk's office.
Okay, agenda presentation. Anybody see anything that you needed to change or update on this agenda?
Make a motion, we adopt the agenda as presented. I second that.
I have a motion by Larry to accept the agenda as presented and a second by Jason. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry. Item number 4. Approval of meeting minutes from the February 25th meeting that were all emailed, and I think we all have a copy. Is there anything that anybody wanted to change on there that they noticed?
I think it was all good.
That's what I thought too.
I'd make a motion to accept the, approve the minutes from the February 17th, 2025 meeting. I second that.
All right, we have a motion from Larry to accept the meeting minutes from February 17th of 2025 as presented, and a second by Jason. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry. Treasurer's financial report.
In our checking, we have $1,733.76. Money market, there is $177,675.68. The broadband account has $15,650. Our CD, 5% CD for the fire escrow is $139,641.41. Our cemetery account has $14,333.65. The GLIP account has $227,954.90. The total bank accounts are $577,489.40.
That, $500, park
Oh, I
improvements.
forgot the park improvements, $500.
Okay.
That's our another account we have, or our Maplewood Park property.
Nothing in aging.
No, we do not have anything in aging.
I make a motion, Dr. Treasurer's financial report.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion by Jason to accept the treasurer's report as presented, and a second by Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry.
Oh, boy, here.
Coming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take out that chair.
You made it on the last meeting? You made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you. Okay.
There's a chair over there. Ben.
And what is your-
Oh, all right. I'll sit next to the computer. It seems fitting.
That seems fitting, doesn't it?
Jason.
Yeah,
Or you.
Jason
can
Rower,
sit
yeah.
I'd be careful in it.
Right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Living on the edge.
Right on the edge there.
Maybe it's 30. I like it.
These hold up a little better.
Right.
Everybody's here.
Did we get the encouragement?
We did get it passed.
All right, good.
It carried. But we'll wait for her to get caught up here as far as names. Did you get Lauren Eager as well?
Oh, God, no, I forgot Lauren.
Oh.
We got you, Lauren.
Even gave you a swat on the.
I know.
Busy time here.
Okay, I'm good.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, item number 6 is public comments. Do we have anybody online that you're aware of? Rick?
No, I didn't see anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, we're here. That's it. Okay.
Any other public comment? Time for anybody else in the crowd that they wanted to go through something at this point in time, other than the ones who are on the agenda? None? Okay, hearing none, we will move on. Item number 7 is Door County Land Use Services. They had asked to join our meeting and they wanted to go through some information with us. I'm assuming that's what we're here for. So,
If it's mine, Karen, I'll just give some context. So, well, thank you for having us. And thanks for, it worked out perfect for us timing, but so we're going to every community, we're providing some updates. Obviously, one will be land use services, but we're also doing updates. Jeff is here for emergency management, and then we also have Jason and Ashley here. We're gonna talk about our communications
And you are.
project that's going on. I'm Ken Pavick, the county
Okay.
administrator.
All right, thank you.
So, sorry about that. But yeah, so I'll let them kind of go through each one, but we're just kind of here providing information and obviously answering questions, but I'll start with Karen and Jeff and they can start us off.
Thank you. So my name is Karen Bailey and I'm the Director of Land Use Services. And with me is Jeff.
I'm Jeff Kuso. I'm the Senior Code Administrator with the Land Use Services Department, and I am the assigned Code Administrator for the town of Forestville.
And thank you for having us tonight. We just want to explain a little bit about our department and what we do and how we can service the town. So Land Use Services consists of 3 different areas that we handle. One is zoning. So we handle all the zoning ordinances, regulations, and enforcement of zoning throughout the county. And secondly, we handle all the sanitation. So our sanitary program regulates all the permits for sanitary and septic systems and also enforces those codes as well. And thirdly, we have our planning, and planning is responsible for developing and implementing comprehensive plans throughout the county. So currently our department is fully staffed, which is exciting because that hasn't been for quite a while. So we're gonna be up and running for the summer with zoning and sanitation and our planning. One of our priorities moving forward right now is to focus on violations. As you've probably seen in the media, there's a backlog of violations. So we're really focusing on hitting those hard this year. If there's ever any questions from the town board or any citizens, we welcome you to call our office or come in and also visit the county website. If you go on the county website under land use services, all the zoning ordinances, sanitary ordinances, everything is listed on there. And also we are doing all our permitting entirely online. So you can fill out any permit application online, either from your home, or if you need assistance with filling out those online permits, you can come into our office and we can assist you with that.
When it comes to zoning, so the town, as you know, has comprehensive zoning, so all of our ordinances are applicable in the town, so that includes land division, shoreline zoning, floodplain zoning, and comprehensive zoning. So we regulate everything and any type of structure that's greater than 6 inches above pre-construction grade requires a zoning permit from our department, so we work well with the building inspector, but zoning permits will need to be issued prior to issuance of any building permits for any new structures. Just one thing, Karen talked about violations. One of the common violations that we deal with that's difficult to chase down and track is camping violations. So certainly you are our eyes and ears, you know the town better than us. You're in the town more specifically than we are. So if you have concerns about camping and somebody camping on a property more than what they're allowed to do, please document it and let us know when that camper has come on the property. So as far as what people are allowed to have on a property, they're allowed to camp on a property for up to 30 days in a calendar year. But that's just one of the violations that we continue to have. That's a little difficult for us to track because we.
It's 30 days in a calendar year,
30 days in a calendar year allowed to camp on property.
and that's, but in other words, staying overnight.
Correct. You cannot store a camper on a vacant property either. So if somebody's going to store a camper on a property, it needs to be on a property with a residence essentially.
I park my camper all year round, I mean, all summer long, but I just tow it. I'm never in it.
And you park it on your property
Right.
where you live, yeah,
Right.
and that's no concern at all, just we're
Okay.
talking about staying on.
My
it.
grandson might stay in it a couple of nights, but
No
that's it.
issue. Wouldn't even know, but it's more so on the vacant properties where we find this issue, where people just bring up a camper for 4 months, 6 months out of the year, keep it on their property, that's not allowed. They're only allowed to keep a camper on a property for up to 30 days in a calendar year if it's a vacant property. You cannot store it on there while you're not staying there.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. We'll have to look into that one.
Yeah, and certainly if you want to speak on me more about specifically that.
Yeah.
Please give me a call. I gave some
Yep,
cards
got
out
the
here.
cards, yeah.
So please give me a call. I'd love to talk to you more about.
In the
just
past, I know there's
clarify that.
at least one property that has electricity in it.
Mhm.
There's a porta potty there. And generally all summer long, there's a camper there,
I think I know which one you're talking about. I think I saw it last year. Yeah.
not far down the road.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think I know which one you're talking about. So I guess that one, if you know that property owner, I mean, I would
I don't,
request. You know,
I just
them
see
to
it.
Reach out to us, but
okay.
that's just something.
It's right there on the corner. It's kind of hard to hide. It's in the trees, but
Okay.
hard to hide.
But I mean, really the overarching point is that, you know, if you see if you have a question, if you see an issue, please reach out to me specifically.
Okay,
And I'll take a look at it and I'll let you know what can be done, if anything should be done.
So,
thank you.
yeah, thank you for allowing us to come introduce ourselves tonight. Like you said, just reach out if you guys have any questions, and we look forward to continuing to work with you to address any concerns that you may have in your town. And next, I want to introduce Jeff. He's from,
Are you?
yes, Emergency Management. Go ahead.
So are you the head of the department full-time now or still intern?
I'm still in interim.
So are we looking for somebody to fill a full-time position or?
And
Working on that.
Or are we
We're working on that.
looking to work in that direction? Okay, just curious.
Yep.
Carry on.
Thank you.
All right, yes. My name is Jeb Salins. I'm the Director of Emergency Management. Thanks for having me back again. I forgot my punch card, so we'll have to catch up on that next time.
Okay, thank you.
There's 3 things I just wanted to go over with you guys. First is we've rolled out a new emergency alerting system. So before this, we had Code Red. Starting last September, we switched over to Door County Red. So it's set up the same. It's emergency alerts that go straight to your phone. So it comes from the National Weather Service if it's a weather related emergency. Otherwise, me and then Brenda Blay, the head of our dispatch, can send out emergency notifications if there was something that was happening in the county that wasn't weather related. Chemical spill, active threat, anything like that. Especially with tornado season coming up, we're encouraging everyone to get this on their phone. That way that they can get alerts when it happens.
So this is an app we want to download on our phone, correct?
Yep, so it works best when it's on your phone, because obviously they go everywhere we go these days. And then that way it can give you weather alerts no matter where in the county you are. Kewaunee County also has the same rate system. So if you're in Kewaunee County, it will also work there as well, which is one of the benefits of why we wanted to partner up with them.
Earlier, last week, I attended a FEMA in Green Bay. So would you be like the contact for like the FEMA, like for the emergency aspect of that, or?
Not so much for FEMA, but I do deal with a lot of like FEMA grants.
Okay,
And then also FEMA does have a iPause system that we use also for emergency alerts.
Okay.
So kind of break that up into twofold. This is our voluntary system.
Oh.
We ask people to sign up so that we can send them alert.
okay,
FEMA does also have alerting program as well called iPause. That we would only use in the event of like life and death emergencies. And that can hit all cell phones. Which makes it nice for up here because we have hundreds of thousands of people in the summer that aren't from here. So it allows us to give those life safety messages when we really need to get them out. But this is gonna be kind of our main way of letting our public know. I'm a firm believer in giving people their good information, letting them make those choices in real time, and that just helps us a lot to get that information out. Any questions about that right away?
I have a question.
Yes.
I attended this
Oh, yes.
and I will no longer be on the board as a elected official. After the elections in April. Is this something that's going to be made available again? Is this basically NIMS training?
Well, yeah, we want to bring that back into the county eventually. Right now, we're kind of focusing on doing a lot of the community event organizing. So we have that coming up.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. That's a couple of day.
Yeah, a 2-day
Presentation
event.
was.
So we've been really kind of focusing our efforts on developing this community events.
Okay.
So we hosted it last year. We brought a lot of our first responders from the sheriff's department, EMS and fire. They really liked it. They thought it was really well organized and kind of touched on a lot of bases that we've not really been doing so well on, right? So we've ran a lot of community events and they've all gone really well and we've just kind of kept doing them. So right now we're just trying to bring in some of those organizers along with our first responders to go over event security together. So that they have an understanding of what public safety has to do. And that public safety also has a good idea of how event organizing goes. So together, we're going to try to make our community events a little bit more harder, protect them a little bit better, but also work together on the planning aspect as well. So working to develop plans in case of a scenario would happen. So we've been really kind of focusing on that, but absolutely.
When is that training starting?
It's Thursday and Friday this week.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a very short window for training here because once summer hits, it's really hard to get our first responders in because they're so busy. So really it's just kind of this winter time.
Okay.
But yeah, so the second part, there's no other questions that I wanted to, oh yeah.
Can I ask a question if I'm not on the board? Does every cell phone within a certain area get emergency alerts, whether it's a local number or not?
Yes, so again, if it's signed up for this, no matter where you're at, right?
You have to sign up?
Yep, so you'll sign up for this, there's a QR code on the back, scan it, and it can get you signed up. We'll send you those alerts if you're in that area. So like I always like to say, if it's like a tornado warning, right? Tornado warnings, they'll usually highlight a certain area. National Weather Service will send it out. It will go straight through our system to all of your phones. And then you'll get an emergency alert on your cell phone, usually through a text message, sometimes a phone call or email, whatever you choose. And it'll let you know, hey, there's a tornado warning. So we would do the same if it was a chemical spill or another hazard like that.
No, thank you.
So what is life and death threatening when you're talking FEMA?
Life,
Tornado, is that considered life and death?
yeah, but so National Weather Service is a little different, right? Because they kind of send out theirs through ours. It's not really through iPause. iPause is a system that we have that's kind of piggybacks on this system, right? But yeah, if it is like a chemical spill and we need to evacuate people, and if it doesn't happen, someone's gonna die, that's when we're sending this out. It's not something I take lightly. It's not something I want to send out, but it is in our back pocket if we need it. And so that's how we reserve it for. Any other questions about the emergency alerting system? Okay. The second part of it is our hazard mitigation plan update. So every 5 years, we have to update our hazard mitigation plan through FEMA. So we'll be going through that process this year. We've applied for the grant. We'll be working with the planning department to update that plan. So hazard mitigation plan covers what are hazards, how do we prepare for them, and how do we maybe mitigate some of those effects. So under, as a town, you don't have to participate in this. You are covered through the county plan as we adopt it. We encourage you, of course, to participate because I think it's a good idea for citizens and municipalities to know their hazards and know how to mitigate them. But we'll be going through that process this year. And as we do, we'll kind of send out some more information. We just wanted to give you a heads up that this is a planning process that we will be going through. A lot of unknowns going on at the federal level, especially with FEMA. So to be determined if that all plays out the way it does, but plan for now is to update it probably in the fall and into next year. So you guys will hear more about that. And again, you're more than welcome to participate. Any questions about that?
So the participation doesn't, you don't have to be a board member, you can still just be a citizen and participate?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, so we'll have some open community forums, like once we actually get our plan together, have it all updated. You can see the plan right now on our emergency management's website. We'll just be updating that plan, and then we'll bring in the community, answer any questions, talk about it, go over it. It is a good way to, if there is anything, you know, let's say, you know, an area in your town that floods all the time.
Mhm.
And you know, okay, they put in a too small culvert way back in the day and it's just not working anymore. That's probably a really good mitigation project, right? You could probably put in some bigger culverts so it would drain better and it wouldn't flood as much. These are things that we want to put in our plan. So as we look at mitigation projects, we can fund those with federal dollars and lower our risks. So we don't have to spend as much money responding to these disasters year after year after year. Mitigation usually saves us about $6 for every dollar that we spend on it on the response side. So something at a local level, I like to bring up just because you guys know your town better than I do. So if there is any projects that you guys can think of, please let me know. I'd love to put them in. And then finally, on that note, if there was an incident that happened, I like to identify a local emergency manager to talk to in the middle of the night. Decisions need to be made. I tend to go with, if no one else jumps up, it's usually the town president or chairman. Just because you have the authority to issue a emergency declaration and know your town really well and who lives in it, and also can make some decisions that actually matter. In Wisconsin, we are a home-based state, home-based rule, which means the lowest elected municipality really controls this. You have all the power, right? Governor could come in and say, do this, and you can say, go pound sand. They can't tell you what to do because you're an emergency incident. So I like to always just make sure that towns and cities are aware of that because it is a huge responsibility. And, you know, a lot of times people will go, oh, well, I'll just make my fire chief the local emergency manager. Probably the best person you could because they have the most know-how, but if there really is going to be an emergency incident going on, they're going to be too busy. They're going to be out there with the firefighters actually dealing with it. As an emergency manager, we support our local first responders. I need someone that can know their community, have resources of access, and tell me what they need. Fire chief, most often, is going to be way too busy to have that conversation. So think about that. I would recommend just, you know, nominating someone for that who has that ability. So in the middle of the night, I can call someone up and we can have those conversations. How can the county help you right now? How can we stabilize this incident? What do you need in recovery? Because we do have access to a lot of state resources and also federal resources, but it all starts with you guys. So more than happy to kind of come back and have those deeper discussions on how that looks. If you guys do have an emergency operation plan like we do at the county level, It's always good to kind of outline who's gonna make decisions, how things are gonna flow. Doing that on a blue sky day like today, not 2 a.m, and also to figure it out. So good things to do in the meantime. But again, if you have any questions about that, you can definitely dig into that a little bit more at a later time. But any other questions? Yes.
If you are on vacation outside the country, they can still reach you if there is a problem in our area where you live.
Outside the country is gonna be a different story. Depending on what country you go to, they may have a national alerting system, they may not. So that's just gonna be on an individual by individual, country basis. So just do your homework. A good question. Any other questions?
Not for us, I don't think.
All right, well, we've saved the best for last.
That's what they keep saying. I don't know if anybody believes it. Before I get into those handouts, I'll kind of just give you a little bit of a backstory of how we got to where we are. Our current public safety radio system was last upgraded in 2013. Our former communications expert Len Keenan had identified that that system would be end of life in 2028. So that kind of started the process of getting everything rolling. At that same time, he announced that he was going to be retiring. So we had to select a new consultant. So OCG, which is Omnicom Consulting Group out of Florida, is who helped develop the plan in front of you. Along with them, the county also has a CATS committee, which is a communications advisory technical subcommittee that's comprised of all vested parties in the public safety system. So we've got sheriff, fire, EMS, dispatch, emergency management, and then other radio consultants as well. So all of those people have been reviewing the plans and making the recommendations to public safety and county board to make sure that we've got the best system for our users in the end. So the first part of their selection process was determining the type of system that we wanted to have. So they selected a P25 APCO 7,800 megahertz system, which is a certified public safety system. So APCO is a national organization that sets public safety standards and regulations. So that will help us, you know, have the best system in those critical types of events. And then 7,800 megahertz is strictly the frequency that broadcasts in, which is dedicated public safety frequencies through the FCC, which we didn't have in VHF, so it should help with any noise and congestion on the new system. It'll be better in the future. So the plan that you have there outlines the portable outdoor coverage that we'll be looking at, and they use that standard because that's typically the harder coverage to get, being with the antennas on your radios, plus where there's, you know, housed on your side with your body blocking it. So that's typically the worst case. Coverage inside of a vehicle with an antenna is going to get enhanced coverage from that. So that plan would get each municipality to a 95% coverage. The national standard is typically 95 for a county as a whole. Our public safety wanted to address a couple of things, including the red boxed areas on the map there. Those are areas that they previously identified in our current system as problem areas. So they really wanted to make sure in designing the new plan that we're taking into account those areas as well. So they set the standard to be 95% per municipality, which gets the county as a whole to just under 98%. And again, that's portable outdoor coverage. So in vehicles and things like that should be enhanced from that. So then yes, part everybody wants to talk about is the money aspect of it. So the county as a whole will pay the main infrastructure cost. So developing, I forgot to talk about this. Okay. So the plan on there takes into account our 12 existing sites, and then it adds 8 new sites. 2 will be co-locates that are on existing towers in the county, and then 6 would be new builds. I don't think we have them identified on there. The red ones are the new ones, but I don't think we have which ones are the new builds.
But that's 8 of them.
Yeah, there's 8 of them.
8 total, right? So 2 would be co-locates on towers that are existing that we're not on. So like one of them is the Ensight Tower out on County C.
Piggyback or whatever.
Correct. We'll just utilize the tower that's already there. So look,
from our infrastructure standpoint, it's adding 8 to what we currently use. But 2 are towers that already exist, so 6 of them would be new builds. We'll be continuing our partnership with Ensight on those new builds. We've partnered with them on several sites that we're currently utilizing are theirs, and with our fiber ring that we have in the city. So the county has had a partnership with them for many years. So the plan is to continue that with their sister company, Vertical Bridge. We will obtain the land, and then they will build, own, and maintain those 6 new sites for us, and we'll just utilize the space on those sites.
Do you have the land?
We do not, we're in the process of the land acquisition. That's been the first phase of the project, so we've been working towards obtaining in those areas that you see. Any questions on that? So then the funding part of it, so the county will do the main infrastructure part of it, so upgrading all of the stuff at the sites, outfitting new sites, dispatch, all of the main parts of that, antennas, all of that. Then the local municipals and fire departments would be responsible for the radios for their services. The county hasn't made a determination exactly on that funding yet. We have 2 prices listed on there. We would be looking at that mid-tier. The CAPS committee has determined that the high tier for the added cost for the features that we probably wouldn't use isn't there. So those mid-tier radios will be sufficient for what everybody needs. So those will be the costs that we'll be using it based off of. Those numbers are a little bit different than what we had sent you last July. We got a little bit more of a refined budgetary number. And then we also asked all of the fire departments to get us some firm numbers. We had some guesstimates before, but we've asked them, to get exact counts, which is what you have there. So the county we're hoping by mid this year, county board make the final recommendation as to what percentage potentially will be covered by the county, and then what would come back to the municipal levels. And additionally, the county's looking at doing potentially a repayment plan, so the county would bond for all of it, and then you could just repay back the county over the course of so many years, just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to absorb that. Bonding is easier on the county level than it is.
What's the life expectancy of these radios?
Of the radios?
We just replaced radios.
This has been going on for 20 years.
I mean,
Patches, radios, more patches, UHF, VHF, digital, it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
So.
And the fire department just bought a bunch.
yeah.
Oh, we're almost continually buying.
Yeah.
Isn't our share like 385,000 or
Yeah.
something for Southern Order around there? Right, for radios? Base stations and 2-ways and trucks and.
for this project, it's 122. 120.
In addition to what you're expending, so.
Yeah, 127,000.
And
So,
we
but
didn't
back to my
budget for
question.
any of this either.
What is the life expectancy of these radios as you sit with a phone or whatever else and a computer and, 2 years, it's useless. throw
Yeah,
it
I
away,
mean,
let's
I know
grab another couple $100,000.
our emergency services director, Aaron, said that, his at Jacksonport as well as his emergency services crew have some radios that are as old as 20 years. So I can get more specifics on what the new ones look like, but I think it can vary.
Technology's technology.
Yeah. But, you still gotta be able to afford it.
And we didn't budget. So,
Well, Yeah, and I mean, so
Yeah.
2028 would be our goal live, right? So we've got several years before we're actually gonna be looking at purchasing all of those. That's kind of why we're trying to get out now ahead of it and give you those more refined numbers. The number we gave in July was, the cost of the radios was, I believe, higher than that at that point. And our hope is that once we get to the bidding point with a vendor and have that bulk purchase of all of it, that we'll be able to refine those numbers more. But we also don't want to promise that. So this is what we're looking at right now.
I think the main goal for tonight is that make you start thinking about the fiscal side of it. So again, if the county pays for part of it, obviously there's still a large portion that'll be left. So any money that you can start to set aside will help. And then, like I said, if we're able to get it through the county board for the bonding aspect of it. Obviously, you could carry the debt, but you're still carrying debt. So anything you can set aside, you know, to help reduce that, if this helps you in terms of how you're gonna finance that number, so. So you're probably looking at 2 years, 3 years at the longest in terms of when you're looking at that expenditure.
In other words, plan for it.
Yes,
And for you guys, obviously, there's, you know, you guys and the village, we spoke with the village as well, and then I believe you guys contract out with Playbanks, so we wouldn't necessarily bill Playbanks because you contract with them, but that could be something that the fire department looks at as well. I don't know if there's, you know, what your agreements look like from that perspective.
The fire department's individually run from the townships. Yeah, we get funding from the townships, so the fire department, we set our own budget,
Sure.
so we're already, you know. Looking at the 2028 on this issue.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, it's been brought up, I believe, at the fire chiefs meetings for quite some time. It's just, we didn't have enough information to get some numbers at those points. So we're hoping that this will help that process a little bit. Question?
So I assume that some of this will be charged then to the residents, right? And so-
Absolutely, that's what she's saying, is like the 120. In today's talk right now, the
But,
120,000 is gonna have to be absorbed by our taxpayers.
well, and yeah, that's my whole point. I mean, this discussion is going on, and for quite a while. And, what I hear now, correct me if I'm wrong, that you still cannot give us an estimate what we as residents have to pay up. I mean, that's kind of, to put it mildly, interesting, you know? I mean, if you cannot even say at this point in time, when there are certain commitments from the county, who cannot tell us right now what the exposure is to us as residents, I think that is, I would say, poor planning.
oh, no, that's not right, so
Well, that's why I'm
the
asking.
context is here, we're giving you the number, it's $120,000,
Well-
that's your highest number, we can get grants to whittle that number down, there's a lot, I mean, we're telling you what that number is, that's what you should plan for. And we're gonna do everything we can to knock that number down.
Well, yeah. So what, here is my question again. I mean, it's not a secret how many people live in the township, right? So why can't we get the simple answer? This is roughly what the exposure is to us as residents of the township.
I think that's based on valuation of property,
Mhm. Yeah,
so it'll be proportional.
Which even as we go through, we have to reevaluate the town, the state is requiring us.
Yeah.
So I kicked that can down the road 1 year to
Yeah.
try to budget this in, because you're talking a lot of money.
I agree.
75,000 to do this at a minimum.
Mhm.
But then obviously the values of the houses are gonna be looked at and everything is then gonna be off of that. Not only that, but the 120 is gonna be split up with, that's not just our township, right? So this is for the total fire department. So Claybanks is gonna have to pay part of that,
Mhm.
and the village is gonna have to pay part of that. So as far as the county is concerned, they would never be able to give you what you're, and I know what you're asking, hey, if I'm a citizen, is this adding $8? 100, is it,
Yeah.
what does this mean to me? Is it $1,000 on my taxes? Nobody could give that to you at this point in time. It would almost be impossible.
Right.
So what they're trying to do is say, we're potentially, in the worst case scenario, 120,000 gonna be put out here. Plan for this as we roll through the best you can. You know, I mean, we try not to
It'll go
raise,
through your
Well,
budget.
correct.
No, I hear what you say.
You know, so I'm sorry, I mean, I don't know how.
Understand where I'm coming
Yeah,
from, you know?
yeah, as a taxpayer, I absolutely can
We all-
understand.
Yeah, I mean, and this is going on for many years and I cannot get even estimate, you know, from whether it's, you know, in this range, I think that's, I find it.
Well, part of something of this nature, as she's saying, and they're saying is going on for many years. First, you gotta decide, there's different frequencies and plans and different things you can do, right? What's gonna be best for our area because of all those little red circles on there, right? We're unique, we're not very flat, and all of a sudden, bang, there's a cliff down here. And when the fire department's sitting out there, they've got nothing, or the first responders. So we might be a little bit unique compared to, let's say, Green Bay area where it's more flat and you could just do whatever. That all takes time just to narrow that part down. Now that's where I was asking you about the land. I mean, I'm sorry, this is Door County. You just don't go get land.
Agreed.
This is gonna be, are you kidding me? That's my first question. You're gonna go in gunpoint to get.
That's been a struggle at this point, and so, yes, and that affects the plan as well, because depending on where we can get a site, if a site shifts on here, it changes the coverage, and then we've got to reevaluate what that whole plan looks like. So it's hard to go out for bid on equipment and all that kind of stuff until we know what sites we have and all, that all unfortunately ties together.
So it's a long time in planning to find out even where those areas are. Cause you have so many fire departments and municipalities that have to give input on that.
But I mean, commitments are made already. This is not a study anymore, right?
Well, the areas of which we want to put the sites is committed, but we don't have land. So if we can't find land in this 2-mile radius and I have to shift the site, then that shifts this site and it shifts this site. It all ties together. So the plan has been designed, but the exact locations have not yet.
So it's not 100% committed, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ken?
Yeah.
We're committed to doing something because the need is absolutely 100% there. That is not gonna go away. So the county had to at least plan and get the commitment of, we're doing this, we're doing something. Let's work our way down, just like the internet thing, let's whittle this thing down to reality. And then where funding is gonna come from, how do we make this all happen, and
Well, I noticed your towers on here, you got the existing towers, you got new towers. Now, do those towers have to meet a certain criteria, like height, size, all that? Or-
Yeah, so the red ones do have heights that we're looking at to get us the coverage that we can, those are all, in the design at the moment for their specific locations.
I hope we helped you out as best we could, and I know exactly what you're after.
Yeah,
But it's too early in the game, it's even like the internet, we can't give you an answer yet. We're hoping for the best.
No,
But, and I mean, it kind of funnels its way through as it goes. So,
yeah, but because this was not, correct me if I'm wrong, voted by the residents in the township, right?
no, because you can't really vote on it, period.
This is
This
county
is-
zoning.
This is a county board type thing.
No, and
Let the county board make this.
I understand that you cannot give an exact figure, but what I'm surprised is that, if you're in this business for quite a while, you should be able to give a rate. This is at the lowest, or that is what you maximally exposed to. That's I mean.
I guess the only thing I can say is we have all the budgetary numbers, and all we're trying to do is give you what we consider the best numbers that we have to date, but everything we're trying to do is whittle that number down. So that 120 is what we're trying to say to you, is that's the number that's today, and we're gonna do everything we can to whittle that down. Even our system ourselves, I can tell you that globally, we're again, about 26 million, right? But we're trying to acquire grants and everything we can to lower that number down. And in terms of the system itself, it wasn't a choice for the county board to say, no, I don't want to do that, let's just keep this going. We're mandated by the FCC to go down this path, and a lot of the other counties already have digital or those types of systems. So I mean, we're having to take that step. And it's coming to us a little bit quicker. I mean, we've known about it, but again, it depends on also if the FCC does the formal order on actually transitioning those frequencies, that could also expedite things. But again, it's the end of the life. A lot of the equipment that we've been using is that age of 20+ years. So we're a lot of the equipment that we have now is very difficult to find parts. So we're in that window of time, and we've done everything we can to get those numbers and try to narrow those down. And again, we can give you estimates at the county level and municipal level what those are, but again, there's so many variables in terms of both the final costs, where the land of the towers go, if we can get more grants, I mean. This is the opportunity now, if we can, all the townships and even the county itself should be looking for any type of funding that we can to help lower that cost, so anything we can. But it's kind of where we are, the best snapshot of today.
Now, what, so the county, you cannot say, how much the county kicks in either, and is that
That's off
depending
their
on
board.
the timing?
The county board is the one that will decide that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna be, hopefully gonna bring that forward, so there's more, I guess, guidance for the townships, we're gonna try to bring that forward this year, yet as far as the budget process.
Okay.
You know, and as they finish their ends and they get these accusations, you know, things.
Mhm.
Then things will start to fall into play and they can give you a better number or I guess you'd call it a real number, right? I mean, right now, we're budgeting, you're coming close, we're coming
I
close.
mean, I know first, it's not like we're gonna walk in here in January 1 of 2028 and tell you this is your final number. We should have that information to you before we get to that point. It's just, we're not quite there. I'm sorry.
Scared me to death.
We
There you go.
Yeah. Yes, we've got time now. That's why we're trying to get it out to you, now. And do everything that we can in the meantime, like Ken said, to get that number down.
Okay, well, thanks. Because I look at it, I mean, we basically, as a resident, invest in this. And if you make an investment, you normally know what you're getting into. And first of all, we don't have a choice, correct me if I'm wrong, whether to invest or not. And we cannot, and we don't know really what we get for it and how much it will cost us, and that's all I want to say. That's my concern.
It may be minimal. We're in the second year of our brand new realigned fire department with the 3 municipalities instead of 4. We're trying all we can to cost save. I believe we came in last year 25,000 under budget. We're trying to even that out. There may be a 0 taxpayer increase for this project. I'm saying it's good. I like the way I think about it, but it could be, we may have funds in our department to cover these radios, or, to upgrade.
And
Yes, 'cause if
Or there may not be funds.
Right.
We can't say that either, as a fire department.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. I just want to know, where we're going with that and what it's cost us.
I think we all want to know.
I think we're all on the same page, that we easily can say that we all wanted this to come in at as bestly priced as possible for all of our, because we're all in essence paying for the system, so whatever we can do to make this most cost effective, we're gonna try and do that.
Could we use that 125,000 somewhere else? Obviously, as a fire department, we could, but if you go for radios in 2028, that's a priority.
Yeah,
You gotta provide for the services, emergency services, firefighter.
well, and a lot of this stuff,
All of
we're forced to do it. You're forced to update it,
Yep.
meaning from the state. It isn't the town wanting to do it. It isn't the county wanting to do it.
Honestly,
You don't have an
the
option.
radio system's great, what we have is, they're just not making us parts anymore.
it. Right,
So
They're old.
we were lucky that Big Electronics grabbed a bunch of them when they did, and we've been using them since then. But it's getting to a point now where they're just not making our stuff anymore,
Right.
so, we're kind of forced to go to this new system.
kind of hard to buy those new transistors.
You're essentially
Radio
subsidizing
Shack.
it with used equipment. You're buying somebody else's refurbs or somebody who's done the upgrade. Now you're buying their equipment that they're taking off their towers in order to sustain ours. It's not a good place to
One
be.
thing we're not factoring in is all of our radios that we have right now, right? So once we get our new radios, we're gonna be able to sell them to another department that is probably in the same situation.
Just like the air packs. Oh, never mind, I didn't say that.
That's our goal, so.
Oh, and
I'll report. There we go.
Smoke signals work?
Well, thank you for giving us the time, we really appreciate it.
Excuse me, do you have a spare copy of that?
Can we?
Yes, for, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for presenting.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
very much. My information is on that memo, so if you have any questions, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for coming out and talking.
Thank you.
Thanks for scaring me.
As a county, we've
Thanks.
taken
Yep.
all of ours now.
Okay.
So we're really just running on this sorting system now. As we move forward, I think next month is tornado awareness.
We had to come up with that money, all of it,
Oh,
now by the end of this year.
But,
So it doesn't
feel
make
free to
it-
reach out, if you guys want to work on 3 years.
Okay.
Still a big chunk, you know?
See you, Jim.
Yeah.
All right, item number 8, Southern Door Fire Department report and updates.
All right, well, we'll try to make this quick since we're, obviously gonna be a long meeting.
Well, we knew that because they asked for 15 minutes each person.
Right. All right, our last meeting was, last week, March 12th. The treasurer reported $17,693.98 in checking. $153,016.34 in money market. In the 3 CDs, we have a total of $215,506.45. For a grand total of quote unquote cash. $386,216.77. There's still $175,412.09 left on the fire truck loan.
How much was that again?
$175,412.09. There's $103,922.94 on the air pack loan. For a grand total of $277,335.03 in loans. The chief reported 4 fire calls this past month, which is down considerably. Thank goodness. February 13th, 1411 County O, a 2-vehicle accident. They provided traffic control and roadway cleanup. February 25th, 384 South Forestville Avenue for smoke and a large boom. Investigated to find it related to a burning permit that was being exercised. A large boom was the amount of accelerant used to start the fire.
Whoa. You said boom and got my attention.
So what got my attention is how much accelerant.
Yeah.
To make that move, right. February 28th, 533 4th Street, a mutual aid call to Algoma Fire Department. Provided an engine, a squad, and a chief. Minor damage to the upper corner of the building where the wires enter the building. This is the, was it Anchors Away it's called now, it used to be the Roustabout. Tavern and Hotel. March 4th, 9004 Star Road for a barn fire. Automatic aid to Buck Fire Department provided an engine, a tender, squad, and a chief. Extensive fire on arrival. The barn was a total loss. And 12 EMR calls since February 12th, or the last month. Training which took place, I believe, last Monday night was on extrication. I believe Soka Auto lent us a vehicle for practicing on using jaws of life. We are having some issues with the speed and the strength of the jaws, the new jaws, what we call them the new jaws. They're out battery operated. They think maybe there's some leakage, O-ring leakage internally. That's will be checked out. I was gonna check out last week according to the notes here. The firefighters, they updated their bylaws. It's just a lot of terminology since the split with the fire department. The LoSAP statements were distributed to the firefighters and EMRs at their February monthly meeting. Under 916, the red, yellow, white strobe lights, they call light bar, needed replacing. And we had originally got a quote of about $4,000. Chief Olson found one on surplus auction near Eau Claire for just a hair under $1,000, and the firefighters actually installed it one night on a work night. So we thank them for doing that. Wisconsin surplus auction was utilized to sell a thermal imaging camera. The used thermal imaging camera, and don't ask me, I didn't write the price down on what we got for it. It wasn't a real lot compared to what they are new. And the minimum selling price was not reached on the 4 air packs that we put on Wisconsin surplus. I think it was like $25 for 4 of the air packs. So the bottles were, the new bottles we bought. So now we're gonna try just selling the bottles, hopefully maybe because they're only, pushing 2 years old, that we can get more for just the bottles, and the air packs aren't really wanted. It was also talked about maybe donating them to maybe large farms for dusty conditions, or, manure gas conditions of some sort, or donating them to third world country, but that's kind of tough to do with,
Yeah.
getting there is the hard part. So,
Yeah, Wisconsin auction is great if you're buying, it's not so good if you're selling.
right. The new garage door openers, which I mentioned last month, were the original garage doors from 1980. The new garage doors were installed March 10th. That came in under budget. I want to say it came in about $1,000 under budget. I shouldn't quote a price, I didn't write it down, but they did come in under budget. And the picnic is scheduled for July 26th. In firefighter EMR input, Assistant Chief Gary Vandertine and Claire Olson reported on the banquet, which was held at Off the Hook on March 12th, Saturday, March 12th. Firemen liked it. It was great food, good service, good time had by all. The UTV, which went away for service, we've had some problems with the tracks falling off, so there were some new springs changed out in the UTV, along with the sliding unit. The pump was serviced for the oil change and this and that, air filters, whatever. The UTV itself was, oil change, air filters. 500 some odd dollars for that, which is decent. We discussed new investment options. We decided not to because of falling interest rates. And we also that one of the CDs is coming due in May, in which CD coming due in May is $104,000. We may roll that over and pay off this $103,000 airbag loan. So
The trucks are pretty low interest, sorry, it was in like 2 or 3%.
the truck is like 2 1/4.
Yeah, it's like free money.
Right. So that was a good deal. This airbag loan, not so much, but at the time, but we may pay that off. So. That's enough. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Maplewood Sanitary District.
Alright, as far as our regionalization is going, it's. You should have this submitted, plan specs and drawings by, I believe it's July or August of this year. Because of DNR and everything, so when, if everything gets approved and everything, we could probably start. Placing all the, redoing the sewer system and everything, and running a force main all the way down to Forestville. By the end of 2026, the way it sounds like right now. Maybe in the spring of 2027 as at late scenario right now, so. We're working on. Our engineering firm is Robert E. Lee that's working on that with the DNR and everything. So everything should be on schedule. So last time we were updated, usually do like 5 or 6 builds a year that the DNR helps fund and everything. They'll grant, don't pay 70% of the total cost of this and everything. Robert E. Lee did a couple of them 2 years ago, and they got them online last year, and that they got, down towards, trying to think about around Bellers area and everything that they did, and they're online right now. They did a couple regionalizations on there. They got 70% from the DNR, so the sanitary district had come up with the other 30%. And they were going for different grants and everything like that down at that point, and they were gonna do the same thing basically. So for some infrastructure money and all that, that's coming in. As far as the water side of the sanitary district, rates were finalized from Public Service Commission of Wisconsin back in September and October. Yeah, October, we started rolling out the new rates and everything, so, it's now. Fire protection is now off the tax levy, as part of everybody's bill, so it's distributed evenly across the board to everybody. So it's not based on the assessed value of your house, so if you have a $250,000 house and your neighbor has a $150,000 house, it's not. Okay, this person's paying $50, this person's only paying $35. So now everybody's paying the same amount.
You're
And-
talking about within the confines of the sanitary
Right,
district.
everything inside the sanitary district, which is basically from the town hall here to
To
the
the
church.
church.
And then from Bagler's Farm to just by your
Your-
place there,
yep.
Larry. So.
Yep.
That's basically all the sanitary district is. It's quarter mile or so in each direction. That's all it is. That's where, and the water, like I said, Public Service Commission just mandated that we do a rate study this year or this past year. So that's, we started warning everybody in their bills, starting in February when we had to start doing it and everything saying, okay, your rates are gonna go up because they're doing a mandatory rate study, because it has not been done for 35 years. The way it sounded like, so unfortunately, that's why the rates all went up for us.
Right.
And everybody's paying it, so, but we made it, we took it off the tax levy, so now it's distributed evenly across, and that's what people have been asking for the last 8 years ago.
Right.
When we're trying to do different things on the system and everything to upgrade it and everything, so.
How many actual water customers have got?
There's. When I say close to around 50 customers that we got for sewer and water, so.
Right.
So the rate study went through and everything, and that's what it ended up being, so we have to abide by the rate study, unfortunately, so. We couldn't say, no, we can't, we're not gonna do that, so.
No
A lot of
choice.
people are complaining about it, and this is what it has to be. Unfortunately, we gotta do what they tell us. Because we're regulated by them and everything else, so that's what we're doing, so. Other than that, that's all we got for tonight, so.
So if that main is run
Yep,
and whatever, somebody owns a piece of land owned by Larry's house. Can
No.
they tap into that and hook into
no, they
it?
cannot. It's just the village.
That's a pressure line to move the waste.
Yeah, well, there'll be lift stations along the way, I'm
There's
assuming.
gonna be one lift station along the highway itself. It's
That's
gonna
it.
be a separate force main from our main lift station, which is by the church here. And pumped all the way down to the next lift station. So it's gonna be a closed system. That portion of it's not gonna be touched. So if somebody on the other side of Larry's house would put in, would want to be put in, they'd have to pay for the water line to be run down there and pay for the sewer portion, lines to be run down. That's the way it would end up being, so.
You'd be
hooked up.
expanding the
Otherwise, they-
district.
Yeah,
Yeah.
otherwise, even if, say, because Larry, your house is out of this
That's correct.
sanitary district, if Larry wanted hooked on,
No, he
you'd have-
doesn't.
which I understand.
Okay.
But if Larry decides, well, yeah, I wanna be hooked on to the. Let's just say your septic system fails, or for some reason it would, say it does fail. Then you need to hook on, they could say, well, you have to hook on to the sanitary system. No, you can tell them that they can, you can rebuild your own.
I thank you. And that's
That's
what I did.
It would cost you less than a lot of other people
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
to join, but.
No, I don't
Not
care
that
to
you would
do
want.
that. Thank
No,
you.
so,
Right.
Thank you
yeah.
for the offer, whoever. No,
so, but that's where there, we just have the sanitary district itself, so.
that's it.
And the boundaries come
150
through every
feet.
2 years and everything are, that we have to make sure that they're the same and everything that. Cause they haven't changed since the system been installed and everything,
Correct.
so.
So how would that change, like, say, if somebody wanted to build a house right now in your district? Like, right in, so then they,
Okay, say like say like where there's a
like the
vacant lot.
field, yeah.
Yeah,
like
the
the field
vacant
there.
lot between the
Yeah,
church and the houses here. Yeah, they build their house on there, they can hook on to our
Okay,
system, that's cause that's in the sanitary district.
So the more people you get, the lower your rate should go with that? Is that
Oh.
how it goes, or?
Minimally.
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't change that much at all for us, so,
Yeah.
it's just another person on the system, so.
oh, okay.
That helps distribute.
Right.
Out a little bit, but it isn't gonna change it much.
No.
So you'd have to have almost a whole subdivision, basically. And then it would be almost a whole new system that we'd have to put in on after that. So unfortunately, so.
But it only goes 150 feet from the center line of the road, either side.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Oh, yes,
No,
I had it
it's actually a
surveyed.
bit more than that, because it goes down the middle of Babbler's driveway. And then it cuts across between the house and the shed.
Oh, yeah,
The shed is outside the sanitary district where they have the bus service at, so they're on they got a separate septic system for that, so.
correct.
So that.
Yeah.
So that's where that's at and everything, so.
But that's about the only exceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so I think it's basically a straight line from there.
Right,
South, and then it goes around, basically behind everybody's houses here. It stays behind. It actually falls part of the Anarchy Trail and then comes back up along the ballpark and everything,
Right.
along Jenner John's property, so,
right.
and then cuts straight across, so
Yeah, it's,
that's all it is, so,
yeah, not much.
no. So,
Alright.
but that's all I have for sanitary.
Well, I'd hope-
Anybody else have any other questions?
No.
All right.
All right, item number 10. Ad hoc committee for the town park improvements. Check. What do you think? Huh? There's our trail.
There's our trail.
So this is donated from Destination Door County. That is for the trail tying in from the Anapee to our park. So that's the cost for that. Not the tree part, not the planting of grass. Those are working on that yet.
Trail,
Excavation for it, the gravel for it, the labor for that.
Yep.
And then level it out to, pitch where we wanna be. So that was pretty awesome.
Was this expected or was this unexpected?
Erin has been writing
Well, yeah, right.
like crazy, looking, and she's got.
But she approached Destination Door County.
Yeah.
well, they've
And
got
they've
that trail
accepted.
program going too.
Right, so
Yeah,
they came today, we did photo op for, that was part of that's part of their agreement, right, which was. Should be, I mean, if you're willing to give us money, we're willing to,
Take pictures.
yes,
pictures.
absolutely, it was great.
You had to shave and everything, didn't you?
I did, I worked a little better. I thought summer was here that 1 week, remember?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Shorts are hibernation.
Yeah, but, so yes, they've got us that, and, we still got our 500 to add to the rest of the stuff. We keep applying for grants and looking for donations to move the park along and work on the rest of it.
Have they decided on, what they're gonna put for outdoor bathrooms or anything else?
Yeah, we're gonna wanna build an outdoor bathroom,
Okay,
so
so then you're just gonna connect it right
right
to the
this.
service line that goes
Correct.
in.
Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
so we're looking at doing it on the end of the building just because of connection purposes for water and for septic. That
There's
was
their little
kind of the
envelope.
thought.
There's a part
Yeah.
in there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is all done off of donations. That's what we're shooting for in grants and things like this.
We got the land
To make her-
donated.
Yeah, we got the land donated from the Schmitz family, which was awesome. So it's coming together, but it's a lot. The stuff is expensive to make happen.
Yeah, it's, well, they spread already kind of a gravel, is that part of it, or is that the regular maintenance?
No.
We're hoping for, this is what like.
Because, yeah, it looks right now,
You mean on the, well, there's
Yeah,
different
it's
phases
gonna be like-
that we wanna do here.
okay,
Well, if we had enough money, we'd do them all at one time, but that's just not
Yeah.
reality.
yeah,
Yeah,
So the trail is first, and then as we get our funds, the restroom facility would be next, just because of excavation and, you know, they're just being able to put stuff around.
So that's enough for the trail?
That's exactly enough for the trail, right?
Nice,
So, yeah,
very nice.
well, it's
Yeah, I did
nice,
think that.
thanks, because well, anything we can, do for the community
Yeah.
is great, and, I think, that's my opinion, that, we have been kind of considered by the county, as far away from where
With
the
a deep south.
action is, but, it's good that, to see this, and I don't know whether you know, we regularly talk to the Parks Director, Tim. And, that big part what they mow every year, which is how you say it, if you face the dam is on the left hand side, there is that big grassland which they basically they probably used glyphosate to kill all the grass. But in October and November, I think they plan to make a prairie there. And
It's already planted. They
yeah,
planted the prairie,
So
so this
we-
will be the first spring.
so we
that
should
come in.
see there in the next early spring. Something, and then they plan to have, the Parks Department, bed boxes and other things, so. Which makes it more attractive, I think, for us as a community as well, yeah.
good. So that's what we have on the ad hoc committee. Moving on to item number 11, cemetery report.
Cemetery report. Inquiries again. We have some of the issues with regard to the way some of the land was platted. And some of the burials that took place in between in the alleyways. And so I did get a contact from the family that was affected by all those changes some years back. The Gleasner and Pennick families. And we have a person in advanced stages of care. And the family has reached out to me about what the lay of the land is. And what they have, some plots that we worked with them on 10 or 12 years ago to offset the errors made in burials. And there's a potential that we'll be buying back those, at least one, maybe two of the plats of the grave sites. The issue at question is what did they pay for them? Because when we sell the rights to burying the grave site, part of that agreement is that then the town buys it back. If they ever want to sell it, they can't just put it on the market and say, hey, this grave site's for sale.
eBay.
No. No, not eBay.
I don't think this is even.
No. So, I've not heard back on that, but there may be coming a question with regard to those plats. they may want to send it back, or may want to sell it back. My guess is that, as I recall some of the discussion, no, they're not used. Actually, they were a walkway, they were an alleyway, and they ended up being a burial area. So my guess is that it was probably less than $50 per grave site.
Okay.
So even though our rates are much higher than that, currently, we will only buy back at the rate they purchased it. So I have to get back into the back room here and go through the old rate book and see when did they buy it, what did they pay? And I made a request in there, in my communications with the family, that if you have any documentation you can provide from your family's records, we'd like to see a copy of it. It would make finding the original payment in Jerry's files a lot easier. Anyway, that's coming, and we'll be scheduling a cleanup probably in the first half of May. So the markers are still there, you know, we'll have to pull that and do what we normally do. But it served us well when we had the burial. So that's all I have for the cemetery.
Perfect, thank you. Item number 12, broadband update.
With regard to the broadband, I'm working, as we've discussed, this is going to not go into effect. Probably we'll know who's bid on those unit areas, on those project areas, until we won't really know that until August or September. And at that point in time, my conversations with with Brightspeed and the county, it appears that there won't be not any fixed cost knowledge available publicly until that fall time frame. And so therefore, at best guess, we've identified as many locations, but were never included by the state broadband office. So there's a disparity between locations where potential drops might be. And that is, we won't know how many there are or what the costs associated would be until we know where we're at from that perspective. So therefore, yes, Lauren, you were right, there may be a need for the town to put money out there for part of the broadband project, but the bulk of it is going to be covered by grants through the BEAD project. So right now, our commitment is just from what we received from the county, that $15,000.
So federal and state have not
Said anything?
set Brightspeed as the main.
They are the incumbent carrier.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, didn't they have to designate Brightspeed,
Yes, well, they're bid. Anybody can bid in those
but
projects.
they have not awarded it, technically awarded it yet.
There's a 3-step
That's
process.
in August, maybe you were saying?
Right,
Okay.
that's when we'll hear from them.
Right.
And whether or not, you know, the broadband fiber, the backbone of it will go in, the drops will go in, and it's basically funded by those bids. So the only difference would be where they didn't identify locations that we had identified on the committee, right?
The missing
Yeah, they're-
911 numbers.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
going by E911 numbers, and they were just looking at just strictly addresses.
Right,
So there's a discrepancy in those two numbers and that they're looking at.
between the
Like-
state and the feds.
Yeah, and it was down, we had it narrowed down to, I think like 150 if I'm correct.
Oh,
there
I
on
think it
that.
was 86 is the
Yeah.
delta right now.
At first it was like 120, now it's down to 86, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
They were working on those numbers last time we had met and
Right.
everything, so. Those are the last time I heard anything, so.
And won't hear anything. My hope was, when I heard the sanitary district report, my hope would be that at the end of the year, we would know what we have, where we're going. And if your pressure line for regionalization is going in, an ideal time to put in a backbone right down the highway.
I know Brightspeed, when they placed that new fiber coming up the highway, they did put a good sized fiber up.
Yes, they
From
did.
Forestville, so.
They did,
So
but I don't know if there's any additional fiber that might have to be added. I don't think so.
Probably not, cause.
Those are 296 fiber
Yeah,
cables they put
Cause
in.
if they do it, if they do the system similar to what we do at where I work at and everything like that, we bring like, say, 2 fibers down and we set up a cabinet, and inside that cabinet, we can split that fiber
Right,
up to 32 ways. So we got here's 16 way, a 32 or 64 splitter, depending on the distance from our main office.
right.
That, so we can split it that way. But if they do the same thing, probably they could run up to Forestville and still place a 64 splitter and take care of all of Maplewood.
Right.
So everybody would have one fiber going to their house. Then.
Correct.
As they come up the highway, if they run different fibers in that for that, so.
Those are 296 fiber bundles, I think.
Let's see. I know it's a 144, 216, 288, or 32. I think they ran a 216 is what they ran up the highway.
Oh,
itself,
okay.
So,
Oh, that's the main piece.
yeah, the main line is a 216, so.
Okay.
But like I
That's a
said,
lot.
they can pull off of that in different spots and everything, so then they can branch out and go down, say, Center Road or something to catch all the people
Right,
coming up on O or something like that, they can run. But I'm sure that they're gonna go where they place a lot of these cabinets, which is about every 6,000 feet or
Correct.
something, or 8,000 feet. They got one by your place, there's one up the road here,
there's one at
Just
the
on the-
intersection,
yeah, just on the other side of
Babler's place.
by Schlafer's there. Just
Oh,
past-
yeah, yep,
Across from
By
the
Laurie,
marketplace,
yep.
so. These are more cabinets that they place so that they can push their DSL out that 6,000 feet. For basically everybody's house and everything.
Right.
Otherwise, you only had to dial up at that point in time, unfortunately, so now that with the DSL. They can only go 6,000 feet from that cabinet, or
Right.
8,000, whatever it is. But the fiber, we can go, from. Like I said, it's 5 miles, I believe.
Right.
Before then.
Oof.
5 miles and then 7 miles. 7 or 8 miles it is, and then 12 miles. And that's, determines how many splitters that are the quantity you can split it down
Right.
to, so.
but I mean, the numbers are like up in a. Over
Oh, yeah.
500
You're-
E911 locations were identified,
Right.
and we think there should have been closer to 638 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
It was just so we're maybe 80 units. The cost associated with that will be minimal.
Yeah, it's very minimal,
So
so.
I'm not overly concerned from a perspective for the town as putting in any more monies.
Right,
But we won't know until toward the end of the year.
right.
So I'm gonna continue, if you want, to serve on that committee. Deal with
Yeah,
those
because
people.
you understand it, and yeah,
Okay, yeah, we're
I
gonna
would-
continue to do that.
so I don't know, if we have to make an ad hoc committee to make that happen, if not, whatever we have to do.
Well, the ad hoc committee still exists,
Yes,
so.
yeah, Jessica told us not to dissolve that
No.
committee, because we're still linked with the Brussels Union and Gardner yet, so.
Yep, and Jason is also who was
Yeah,
here.
Jason is
on
on
that
there as
committee,
well,
so-
so.
I'm
yeah.
saying to give you authorization
Yeah,
in order to do that.
well, if
you're
we
not-
need that, I'll
If
come
we
to
need
that.
it, that's
Yeah,
what I'm getting at,
okay,
Yeah,
so that's my broadband update.
thank you.
It's a lot of stuff and it just, now all of a sudden it kind of felt like it went into a rabbit hole. I'm not sure where the other end is.
Yeah, that's good, so.
Sorry, Larry, a quick question. So that's, the broadband is completely detached from the item number 7, the communication towers?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
Completely
totally
That's-
different.
that's
Okay,
totally different, yeah.
Just, Kevin, on related subject, that gas line. from the little natural gas station by Rick Bichette.
Yeah.
To Colony Hole is being replaced. Did you get a letter?
Well, what's happening?
That shouldn't affect broadband or not, but I mean,
That's not gonna affect broadband. But I think that might be part of a bigger setup, and I'm not 100% sure. But what's going on is the farm, S&S, manure, they're taking the natural gas out of it, they're capturing it, and then they're shipping it. Right now, they're shipping it. Public Service wants to feed Sturgeon Bay with it. So they've called and they've asked what we would need to do for permits. They've talked to Jeff, who was here. So they're cleared through zoning for the permits for these, it'll look almost like that little substation on County Road, right? Little dinky doghouse, 2 little doghouse type things all fenced in and.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
terrorist proof, whatever, to run this stuff, and it's, well, they're crazy.
I just want to make sure you're aware of it. You know,
Yes.
As a town.
Yes,
So they are.
so
I'm sure
that's
you- I'm sure
actually
you're-
something we're gonna talk about, which is fine, so
Okay.
we're on it.
Oh.
So anyway, Public Service is asking us, you know, what would we need from the township? So as of that, you know, I've called Inspector Brett, talked with him. Because they're gonna be dropped down units, so there's gonna be no inspection charges from his end of the world, just because of how they're built.
Okay.
And they gotta be built.
The federal specs.
Yes, they're so far above what is ever gonna be needed here. And he said, as long as Public Service is willing to waive Public Service's fee for power inspection, he's fine with it. And Public Service agreed. Imagine that.
Fantastic.
So the only thing they need is a driveway permit and then a permit to go down the roadway.
Except it's
in the
not
ditch
electricity.
line. But they need electricity to run the pumps. So anyway, that is in process of
Yeah,
happening.
good look at that, huh?
Yeah, cause I sent them a letter right away, an email back, cause it said that they were coming down Wilkie. And they're gonna, as we redo the road on Wilkie Road, we're gonna run power. I said,
No.
we're not redoing Wilkie Road. I said, I don't know where you got your intel, but it's bad.
They did both.
I think it's just the closest road.
They said we made a mistake, we're sorry. So yes, it's gonna come down J.
Jada Hole is
Yep.
replacing the line.
Maybe Public Service can take me up to power grid too. I've got my own power source.
So I had gotten a hold of Miles, for the assessment. I wanted to know where it's sitting. And what this thing would actually cost us. I only have, 2 copies. Here,
I got it this afternoon.
did you get this one? Oh, cool,
Oh, yeah.
perfect,
Teresa sent it out today.
all right.
Got it.
So that's why you got all of that, is because I was asking him,
This year?
I wanna know a number
Yeah, for the reassessment,
for the revaluation,
your
which
revaluation, and I like,
the state is requiring us to do.
I understand. But this then needs to be done for next year, so this has to
Correct.
be in the budget
For next
in
year,
October.
correct.
Got it.
That's why I wanted all of this to happen.
Yep.
So you basically, in a nutshell, have a full reevaluation or an exterior reevaluation. That's where they're gonna walk on the property, they're gonna look at it, the full reevaluation.
I'll be right back,
Go
excuse
inside
me.
the houses and all that other stuff. I don't know that you'll get it done. They should be able to do it from the outside as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion. I mean, from doing it from the outside, you're talking almost 75,000. We wanna do the full, you're at 85,000.
Cause I remember talking to, Associated Appraisals, they used to send a lady up for that. And she always said that to go inside the house is not even a thing anymore, it's like they basically look at the size of the property, location of the property, basically.
Yes.
And they don't need to go inside anymore, so I'm thinking we're probably looking at a full reevaluation.
We have to.
Yeah.
According to the state.
Yeah.
So we've been non-compliant for
Several years.
5-6 years, so really, this is where we're sitting here, right? What's gonna happen now that we've been out of compliance is they're gonna give us the second final notice. That's what he's giving you in this little
Mhm.
flow chart. And then if we don't do anything from that point in time, they're gonna send somebody from the state to come and do it, and then just bill like whatever. So we'd rather take care of it ourselves than have to
Yeah.
deal with all of that. So,
Yeah, cause I remember that was getting put off for a while, cause at the time, it wasn't really budgeted at the time.
well, it wasn't budgeted, and as long as you came. And your numbers fell out, you were
Yeah, you-
still somewhat compliant,
Right,
and
right.
as long as you're compliant, you're compliant. I don't think we're looking to tax anybody anymore, we have to, well, how do you guys feel about all that? I agree,
Are they reevaluating each property?
yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, so in reality, we should have done it this year, but. We didn't have the funds to even do it this year, so we can only stay. Technically, we've been non-compliant for like 5 years in a row, and that's what automatically triggers.
State,
That's what automatically triggers the state, you're gonna do this, okay, so then they sent out this first notice of, you need to reassess. Well, I asked the question of, so what happens if we don't do it this year? Well, they're gonna give you one more letter and one more year. Well, there's where we got, okay, we'll take the extra year, cause our budget was already done. I don't know where we come up with $75,000 out of thin air. So, we'll have to budget for it next year, and then we just kick it down one more year. But we cannot miss next year because there's no more, then the state's just gonna do it.
and that's gonna really cost.
Advanced assessment.
Yeah, cause they can come back and say you owe $250,000 just for.
Correct,
us going around
Right,
and
right.
reassessing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, that'll really cost,
Yeah.
and we take the
so
initiative.
we're
to
not,
do
we're
it.
not even gonna go that route,
Right.
so. That's why the appraisal came out. And I was gonna throw that in with the correspondence.
Well, I didn't do that on the website.
Oh, yeah,
So we're probably gonna see new assessments.
yeah, we're all gonna see them,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll put it in this fall's budget for next year,
Other townships that haven't done already.
yes.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah, we've been dragging,
Last one, done.
Yeah,
we've been dragging our feet as long as we physically
Yeah,
possibly
you don't want
can.
the state to do it, you want
No,
an
I mean,
independent.
because.
Right.
There's actually, in town of Sebastopol, and there's different people I've heard that they went from $100,000 to almost 400,000 on their assessed value.
But the entire town saw the change,
The whole town seemed to change
Yeah,
across. the
and so
board.
therefore,
But yeah, but this was just like 120 acres farm. It went from, like, say 100,000 up to 400,000, so it's like.
But even at that,
Yeah,
your mill rate is going to drop,
sure,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, well, God, you're telling me the value of my property went up threefold.
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, yeah, but it isn't like we're gonna get more
yeah. you ain't
more
getting-
taxes, your mill rate will just,
Right.
instead of it being whatever, it's gonna drop.
Yeah, your mill rate will change, so,
So in essence, we don't really gain
no, you're
a
not,
whole lot as far as the township
no,
tax base goes.
Yeah.
They just fixed the numbers, so now we're
right,
in the right,
So school and the NWTC and the fire department can get more money.
yeah.
They can-
we can try for it.
Well, that's what we're based off of, right, being schools and.
Well, absolutely, everybody's got the same situation,
mhm,
it's gotta be equalized, is what it says.
So the other correspondence that came out and we dealt with was these water samples, which has been extremely frustrating. So we get the water sample, we take the water sample, we do everything we're told to do, put it in the UPS box, put the little tag on that they want tag, and then a couple days later, you get the letter back saying it didn't get there on time. So we do it again. Well, it didn't get there on time. Mind you, this is costing us every single time.
Right,
So it's very, very frustrating. So finally, we have been non-compliant for, I think, 2 times. And then she asked me, the DNR called and asked, why ain't our water sample in? Well, my bubbly personality showed up, and there was.
oh, okay, well,
So-
where did that go?
We got it all fixed.
Good.
He said, here's a couple papers you need to sign. Here's a list of places you can bring it, and guess what? I go drop it off and the next day, bing, paper, all done. How hard can that be? One time. The difference is we gotta pay for the test, but it costs us $30 for the test. It costs us over 30 some dollars to mail it, okay? You
Can we
got
do that every month or
every quarter.
every quarter?
Yeah, I'll just bring it in myself. I don't mind doing it, but I don't wanna sit here and waste my time doing it 6 times for nothing. So my frustration was there. So now we're compliant and we're back on track. And we will just continuously use the guy right out of Dykesville.
Awesome.
Am I understanding?
Yes,
Great.
Yeah, he's-
yes,
yeah.
done.
And keep it local.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Is
Yeah.
that who that is?
yes,
James?
yeah, he's right,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, just before Dykesville.
yeah, I know him well.
He's on County Ash.
Yeah,
Yep.
super guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came in and he'll do, he knew exactly what was going on. He laughed. He's like, yeah.
Hey, that's the way
A
to
lot
take
of that
care of it.
going around.
I know him real well, so.
Yeah, he's quick. You bring it in late afternoon and you have the result
Right.
the next morning.
Right, so it's just, and how, it's like what, she said, well, you gotta put the tag on it, and maybe that was the straw that got me really upset. I did use your tag, I've done everything you guys asked me to do, I don't know what more to tell you,
Yeah.
so, whatever. Any other correspondence, and then I'm gonna back up to 13, where I.
This was in the paper, but. But it was in the Peninsula Post, but we got it certified from Ryan. He sent
Okay.
this to us,
What is that?
Tax liens,
tax liens, yeah, there's 3 of them, so.
in our township, is that
Yeah.
why we got them?
Yeah, and it was printed in the Post too, so.
Hmm.
Just.
Do
so
we
you're
need to
aware of it.
post that?
Well, the Pulse has it posted, I don't know.
Right.
Oh,
They
okay.
printed it in the paper, so Ryan sent it certified to Dina, and Dina just gave it to me. To show. Support tonight.
Upcoming sheriff's sale?
Well, I think this is step 1, right? So you're headed in that direction, but. Most of the time, these will get cleared up before they ever get to that.
Right.
Hmm.
Somebody didn't wanna pay their tower tax bill, that's what happened. I'm sorry.
So,
We'll look at it.
look at that, yeah.
Is that in our park?
What's that?
The Bear Road Park? Never mind. No.
All right, so that's all we have for correspondence, correct? All right, we'll close the correspondence and I'll move back up to HayGov and website update.
Right.
So sorry about that, Larry.
No, that's fine. There's so many things going on. It's interesting. That one's done. Sad stuff. Larry lost track of where he was at. Oh, I did that expense report, revised that. I have the material from the town park thing that we want to put a separate page up
Right.
and run it through the HayGov, offer to support, make
We're gonna
donation.
do On our website where people can donate to our
Awesome.
park
Right.
project,
I-
so we're just gonna
Yeah.
create a link and then you can just donate
Yeah.
online, so.
I did not get that done.
Okay.
We instead spent a lot of time trying to clean up the emails, the archival of all correspondence, online correspondence. One election day in a primary, or was that a primary that day?
Yeah.
We made the purchase of the software for the 3 town computers. Those got installed, that day I installed yours here in the town hall during the election. And I also then went over by Dina and took care of the her computer as well, and that was what generated that expense report from me as support, as a support issue. The other piece of that is, when we when we did that, I then also discovered there were a couple of other things within the, within what we have going with HayGov. And, we have to still make a few more changes on that going forward, because I also have to notify, Brightspeed and, Jessica Hatch and several others, so that get the support information being sent to the support address and not to the new supervisor addresses. So I pretty much moved all of the data out of the supervisor 2 email accounts and the, online storage areas over to the support side. And so that's basically what went on in that arena. And then after the election, as soon after the election, as we know who's going to be the new supervisors, I then will need to work with them and get everything set up for them. And basically they'll not really have anything there. The only thing they'll have is the supervisor 1, supervisor 2 at those addresses. And then I'll have to go back in and make those changes. So, it's just been a lot of back and forth, and I really didn't have any time to put those, to work on that webpage, and at the rate things are going right now, I may not get it done until after the election, so we'll see. That basically was, HayGov, and both everything's working well now with that. Yeah, as far as Dina's concerned, she said, oh, this is a lot easier, so, and I talked to Jan as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
okay, so that wasn't much, but that's what I did.
okay. I know we're done with correspondence, but I'll bring up one other thing real quick here. Dina wanted us to talk about that heating bill, the electric bill.
The unit, I'm wondering if isn't that the window?
That's exactly what I thought.
It was double.
Yeah, well, the wind was blowing a little much that night,
Yeah,
and there was not a good insulation on that window for quite a few days,
it was probably a week.
at least a week. Jason got it covered. You put the insulation in finally,
Yeah,
and that raised a question for me when Jeb was talking about who's gonna be your incident response, who's from the town, because you're not gonna be here
well,
for.
what'll happen is I'll have to. If I'm the main one, you will have to have a backup one.
Right,
You know,
an
like a
alternate.
VP or whatever type
Yeah.
thing.
Cause I know I went nuts with that night trying to figure
Yeah.
out what to do. And legally, I shouldn't have been talking to Jason, but he was the only one available.
Yeah, but
Well, you
that's an
contacted the
emergency.
clerk though first,
Yeah,
so that.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
yes. But still,
Yeah.
you know, and I got to thinking when Jeb's talking about a contact point, uh-oh. And the other piece of that was, if I'm gonna, still work with setting up for meetings, I should have asked that question when I was talking, but anyway. When I set up for meetings, for this setup for recording and posting in that, we really have to think through that process, getting it set up. And you had sent me a note back about the board of review.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
that
no,
has,
that's not for you. Cause you're gonna be off the board by then.
right.
Yeah, so
Are you gonna run this?
I probably am.
Okay,
That's what I'm thinking.
or that's fine. If not,
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
gotta do the setup and you have to have it
Right.
ready to go.
right.
The other question I had in regard to that is our annual meeting will be the
April
third
15th.
Tuesday
Yeah.
of the month. And are we gonna hold that in the main hall, I would think? That's where it should be
Yeah,
set up in there.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to get those things in
Yeah.
place.
Well, even though, like in an emergency situation, like if they call the clerk, I mean, I'm still gonna be available. I mean,
Well,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna like not.
Well, I know,
respond.
but
I mean,
I want to address those things at least here so that the new board knows what they're
Right.
buying into.
Yeah.
In every way. Okay.
Cause even though you're stepping down from the position, it doesn't seem like you really step away from the position, you just sort of like take a break. And
Yeah, well, it's still going
yeah,
on.
it's still what's going on, cause even like I'm still removing debris from the road, I mean, I'm still gonna continue to do that even after I'm done. you know,
Yeah,
so.
right. I noticed a downspout out there is also was that the same event that caused the blew out the window
I believe it did.
and
Yeah.
it blew this
The downspout's
downspout?
kind of like,
Oh, it's
frozen
off.
over. Yeah.
It's
okay,
off
yeah.
completely now. And so
I think
that,
some of that was because it was so long,
Mhm.
you know, on that wind just.
Yeah,
yeah, so I don't know if that has, or where that's at, but that, I'm sure that's what triggered, Dina's comment with regard to the electric bill.
Right, but she was like, well, why? And I'm almost positive that is why.
oh, yeah.
Right, right.
So. That answers the Dina correspondence. Road and road work. Right away, we're gonna table that. We had enough going on today. Update on Old Krieger and County Line. Right now, we are working on getting everything put together. For Skylar to send in for reimbursement to the state. Which I think he has everything at this point in time.
We have to supply copies of the paid bills.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
We did that.
That's
right?
what we're, yes,
Yeah.
that's what we were dealing with. This is the town of Nassau and the town of Forestville
Oh, yes.
that we are now on.
Who dropped the ball there?
Well, the number was right, because I
Yeah,
called him and I said, well,
the number's there.
I called Skylar, the engineering department.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I never received a letter. You said I would receive a letter and that hasn't happened. For the road with Nassau.
The half mile.
Right. And I said, well, just so you know. My portion of the road is still gonna be posted, so. That kind of defeats their entire grant.
Right.
He said, well, I'm looking right at it, and he said, the numbers are for the entire project, it has to be a typo. Well, then they sent it back, when they sent it to the village of Forestville. And then I sent it back, and I said,
didn't pay it.
we're not the village, I said, we are the town, so you gotta please change it to the town. And then they sent it back again. So finally, we got it all done. And I stopped over by Edson tonight, just before this meeting, and I got it all signed, and he's sending it into the state.
Well, we just
Tomorrow.
changed it to the town of Maplewood.
So that's where we're at.
So
So,
we're on that segment, that half mile is covered.
that half
that,
mile is covered in this,
because it's a local road
90%.
improvement.
90%, correct.
Okay,
So our little portion will be next to nothing.
right,
And I said to Edson, I believe, but how I read all of this was. He's primary, so they're gonna get the money, they're gonna have to deal with everything, and then what happens at the end, Skylar is gonna tell us. Here's just like where we were talking with the other township, here's your portion that you need to reimburse. Nassau, which will be a small amount,
correct. So
so,
it's just the exact opposite of what went on with fire department.
yeah, so no, all good.
Okay, all good, excellent.
Stop ahead sign down.
Jan said that, is it still there? I meant
It's
to
still
go
there.
pick it up. Well, I don't want it to walk away, sometimes those things get little legs and they're.
Well, might flow away first.
Well, that's what she said.
Okay, just so you know.
I've been wanting to stop, but then I thought whenever I had an opportunity, the wind's blowing about 90 miles an hour and I don't really want to play that game.
Where is this at?
Old substation.
Right on the corner.
Oh,
Jay and- yes.
Heading to the.
So
Nope.
the window, where are we at on that window thing?
New window is ordered, insurance, I'm working on them to get the
Reimburse.
numbers and get dollars to take care of it, we have our $500 deductible. Because once you screwed into it, which I didn't know where else you were gonna screw, so I'm not saying right, wrong, or anything.
Right.
You're
Let's
stuck,
replace the whole
now I
thing.
gotta replace the entire window, which means the trim and
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
thing, yeah,
the whole gamut.
okay.
He came Thursday of last week and inspected it. So that's all in route happening. Okay, item number 15 is done. We're moving on to 16, payment of bills.
After the bill for the month, you're paying check from 17161 to 17181. We had election.
61, 17161,
Yeah,
okay.
we had, or 17160 actually. We had election expense this month, salary. And their normal bills of the garbage and. And then, our credit card bill had a QuickBooks renewal, a Microsoft 365. We had a Haggard refund and. We had a renewal of,
Oh, this is your schedule.
it's called the DSPS renewal. It's a electrical inspection agency. We will renew that for 2 years. through
Yeah.
Forestville. So we put that on the credit card too. That's all credit card expense.
Oh, this was, money's going into the
That's our
set.
SEP account, and then we have our quarterly taxes we're paying too. That's 941 form.
Yeah.
Inspectors for the election, I have their hours noted on this stuff. And quantum PC, what was that for again?
It was just salaries.
That was for that malware bites or something like that, from quantum.
Oh, that was, yeah,
Yeah.
that was the,
Lab.
yeah, and that's on those, on the computers, it's,
Yeah, you have it where he can remote in at any time and work on the computer.
Oh, yeah,
Quantum.
I like dealing with Jody and Algoma. So, you know, what was that one?
I question the amount. What's,
Why do you question the amount? What's up with it?
is that,
We got raised. It's correct, so.
is that the new salary?
Mhm.
That's, doesn't go into effect until after we're out of office.
Oh, I thought it was yearly.
No, we cannot vote and pass those rates on until the new, after the election. We cannot set our own pay rate.
We did that in the budget, but
We still can't do that. Because that would be saying, oh, I'm gonna vote an increase in rate. And that was what was voted on. That goes into effect upon election. I can't set my own rate. So the monies for you and I,
We can't. Yeah.
Kevin,
and Dina,
and you,
no, mine's the same. I'm good.
yours did not change.
Yeah.
But those other four are all
Okay.
not correct.
Okay.
So I would not approve those.
All right.
Now I'm good. I didn't realize that because
I didn't know that either.
I thought of salaries yearly. That's
Well,
what I
Or
thought.
the
Quarter.
fiscal
Yeah.
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 fiscal
year.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. You budgeted for it.
Yeah.
It was there. But we cannot raise that and then know we're going to get
Okay,
benefit of that. That's contract,
okay, so we can.
according to
pass it back.
yeah. Well,
But
you,
we
you,
passed that to at the annual meeting though.
for the, yes, and that was for the new board.
Oh, I thought it was yearly. I just go by
Well,
quarter.
Yeah, you can
I-
put quarters.
I think you can, I think you can check that out,
Yeah,
but I would not want to take that check.
okay. So,
This is.
Yeah, you do a quarter, so it's just the way it is.
Yeah, yeah, and that would also affect the payment to the,
yeah, the
Set
second
payment.
41, yeah, all
So-
those,
those.
So you need to step one back too?
yeah, and then
Okay.
41 form.
Okay. Oh, this is good garbage.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
And then,
These are good.
And these are all the inspectors?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
well, I'll just pass these back to you and you'll find it if you're looking for it.
Thank you.
this was all the election. Elections are not cheap, are they? Oh, yeah.
You have a
that's-
low voter turnout.
Yeah, and this would be correct. This would be correct, as it
Yeah.
change.
Early voting starts tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow, the 18th through the 30th.
So they can't request a 2-8 either. They can't request a a ballot.
You know, you gotta go to the clerk, I believe.
You can go to his vote.
Right,
online.
right, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you
Yeah.
can't, you can't do it on Higo.
No,
Through
no,
through town,
No,
no.
through
just
the town
vote.
website or
No.
anything like that.
no, elections commission had it.
I bet you they would, yeah,
No, it depends on the town.
not secure,
This will be
Yeah.
longer.
security.
Yes, well, that's basically what it is. Well,
We'll get it fixed.
Election, come then.
well, I would make a motion that we pay the bills, and approve the adjust the, payroll checks and the SEP deposit for, the chair, the two supervisors and the treasurer. They should be reverted back to the rates that were in effect up until election.
I would like to add the payment for the water, so she can add the $30 for that water test, so
okay.
that gentleman gets paid.
Oh, yeah.
Cause he doesn't
Yeah.
pay credit cards, so
And-
therefore,
We're behind on the sanitary because we had to get checks out early because Dina was going on vacation. this
Right.
week. So can we add the sanitary district in there as well?
Well, I would,
Have their
I think we should, yes.
Voices as well.
And-
So,
And what, is there anything else on the, credit card bill other than the,
no, we paid, Dina paid the credit card before she left, so that's all taken care of.
Stamps.
That's, we haven't gotten that bill yet.
okay, but did that include the
Microsoft.
Microsoft bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Microsoft,
okay.
the QuickBooks.
And that was $450 and, or whatever,
Yeah, that will.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all there. Okay, so I approve that with those exceptions. And, you know, when is Dina be back then?
I think in a week.
Okay. Well, you can still cut the checks,
Yeah,
Right, and then
we
we
just
just.
need the signature.
but you'll need her
Yeah,
signature.
yeah.
Good enough. So that I made that as a motion with all of those adjustments.
I'm looking for a second.
I second.
Okay. So I have a motion to pay the bills as presented by Larry, to adjust a couple.
No, they were-
To adjust the.
Oh, yeah.
Bills that need to be adjusted.
Yes,
and
yes.
Add on the sanitary and the one for the water test.
Yep.
And I have a second from Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry. Item number 17, announcements. Do we have any announcements?
Just in-person absentee voting starts tomorrow. Till March 30th, so.
And you have meeting coming up?
Oh, yeah, Board of
Board of
Review
Review.
training is on Saturday, March 22nd. I'm gonna be attending that.
I will be too.
And we had set up the meeting with Miles, right?
Not
Sure.
yet, cause. So I gotta look at that email. It was May 21st, I'm thinking. Are you available May 21st?
I don't know, we're responding back on my calendar in front of me, but
I don't know. We'll have to look at that again. What are the
Okay.
new dates?
Yeah, you have to have at least one member of the board of review having gone through training, so.
Yeah.
You'll be it.
all right. Item number 18. It is discussion on any items intended for future meetings. Do we have anything?
So the next meeting is our annual meeting, so it's April 15th. So then we'll swear in the new members of our board. Then we'll have our annual meetings first, then our monthly meeting follows that.
And I would recommend, well, you'll still have to give the report, you'll give.
So it'll be at
town
6:30
report.
first for the annual.
But-
meeting.
We had this confusion last year because we had two separate meetings,
Mhm,
annual meeting, board meeting,
right,
and we should have an independent, or a combined, agenda, basically. So that we have items for the one meeting and items for the second meeting. And so when that recording goes on, we can segregate those two, one under annual meeting, one under board meeting.
But
And
you
we-
wouldn't want one agenda, we'd want two separate.
Separate
agendas.
two separate agendas or a combined agenda, either way you want to cut it. But what we'll do to record is pause and then pick up the other so that we can segregate the recordings along with the minutes to post on the website. But so last year, at one point, we had it combined and it caused confusion when we were trying to separate it out. Because we had items 1, 2, 3, whatever was from the annual meeting, then we started our board meeting was 4, 5, and 6, but it was really renumbered and it made confusion for anybody who was looking at it, at the record. So,
For the 5 people that may have watched it on YouTube.
whatever,
Yeah, that's just.
whatever. I'm just trying to keep it up right above here, you know, it's all up over the board. Okay,
All right. Our next meeting, our next town board meeting will be April 15th, 2025 at 6:30 PM. Basically after the annual meeting.
Right.
Then we're gonna follow with the regular board meeting.
right, in the main room, in the main hall.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. Looking for an adjournment.
So that would that make the actual annual meeting at 6:30, then a town board meeting would be like, say. At
6:45 or 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
Right, I make a motion to adjourn.
I would second that.
All right. Motion made by Jason to adjourn, second by Larry, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, hearing none, it will carry, meeting is adjourned.